It would have been probably September, maybe late September of '44. I came home to, my wife was on a farm near Carthage. That's where my folks lived, and I can remember it was pheasant season, and it was of course I'd hunted pheasants before the war, wherever, and there wasn't many hunters, and there were a lot of pheasants, and it was also harvest time. The people at my wife's farm, they were harvesting, and so 30 days it was nice, and then we went back to Fort Sheridan in Illinois, and they didn't know what to do with us. We couldn't believe they were going to ship us back, so they gave us another 15-day furlough, and we went back home. So now it's getting, I suppose, November, and so we went back to Sheridan. Then they sent us back to maybe Fort Patrick Henry, or near Washington, D.C. All these guys that had been here on furlough. And we had a few meetings there. I wasn't instrumental in it, of course. I was a little old corporal or whatever it was. But some first sergeant from the infantry was organizing the group, and they said, "Hey, we ain't going to go back. You know, we've had our share." So a group went to Washington and talked to the brass, and they came back and they said that they said if you guys don't go back, there won't be no more. You know, it won't be any more that'll come home. So end up by then pretty soon we were on a boat, a ship heading back over to Italy. It was a lot smoother crossing. I still think I stayed up on deck virtually all the time, but it was nothing like that North Atlantic. But it was a very depressing situation going back on the holiday time, as you can perhaps imagine. And then I remember Joe Culver and Denny Sullivan real well from our outfit that were there, and there was, I think, probably maybe 5 or 6 of us that got to go. So we got back, and that time now it was winter in Italy, and I believe they were up north of Bologna, however you pronounce it. And there wasn't much going on. It was kind of a winter. I think we stayed there for the rest of the winter. Not very much activity, but that time the German Air Force was virtually nil, and they didn't bother us. And I don't remember any shelling or anything. I should have mentioned, but somewhere it must have been around Cassino when the Americans finally got air superiority. Before that, the Germans could come over in the daytime in their planes, but I would think around Cassino, Anzio, somewhere along in there. So
you there in the breakout through Bologna then? Were you involved in that?
Yeah, in the spring of '45 was so different. We moved so quick across the Po Valley. There was very little opposition that we were exposed to. I suppose our infantry ran into some too, but all I remember is we moved real fast. Of course, we'd maybe stop a day or two someplace, but I don't. While the Germans maybe stopped, set up a defense. But anyway, in May we were up north of Milan when the war ended. May I don't know, 15th something. I don't remember the date when the war in Italy was over. But we didn't come home as a group. They for some reason they broke us up. We went to, I think it was an 87th Division. The 109 engineers that we were part of were part of the 34th Infantry Division. And we went over near Venice, right on the ocean there, across from the island, Venice. And we were there a month maybe, or longer. I remember First Sergeant Nelson, he was there. He was the head enlisted man in our group. And we'd go to Venice, and it was good duty. And then we rode, I'd forgotten this, but We rode the old freight train back to Naples. And this is quite a ways from Venice down to Naples. And now we're into, see, I got August. We're into July, probably middle of July. And it was a nice trip, you know. We was in these old boxcars, ones that they called 40 and 8, I think it was, during World War I. They're smaller boxcars than what we're used to. But we rode that all the way back, and it was a pleasant trip. There's nothing wrong with it. Again, I don't imagine we had a bread. I don't, maybe, I don't know. I don't remember. Stopped for food once in a while, I guess. But it was interesting. You come along and you start seeing bomb craters, and you knew you were getting close to a bridge, you know. The bridge may not have been hit, but they sure bombed up the countryside around. And they hit a few of them, I suppose. And I got Naples, got on a ship, and came home. I don't remember that ship at all. I would go back. I think on the one when we come home on furlough, it was a converted American passenger liner. So much different than from the Chateau Theory that we had going over the first time. It was a nice ship, and it was fast, so we didn't go in convoy. I think we came like in 6 days or something from Naples to New York. I remember coming into the New York harbor. This would be, I mean, the war was still going on. I remember coming in past Long Island, and it must have been at night because there was lights. You could see cars going up and down the highway with their lights on, and see lights. And that was, it's hard to imagine, but that was such a surprise to see. We had driven blackout for years, you know. You drive on strange roads, and all you'd see was a little slit of a light on the truck ahead of you if you were moving in a group. But that's rambling. But that's about it. Got home in August, got discharged, got married in October. Started to come out to Rapid on our honeymoon, and stayed here, and then started to the School of Mines and finished that in '49. We had a good career in electric power on the Missouri River Basin project. We built, it was just starting to be, it was just been approved. It was there all through the early, not the late planning and the building of the dams and the building. We were involved in the building the power system, the transmission lines and substations, and it was a good career. And I think I rambled about a little too much.
Well, it's an interesting story. You have some family, I suppose. Did you have some kids?
Oh yeah. We had, Patty was born in '48. I would be about a junior. We had a car then. The first 2 years in Rapid City, we walked, and there was no problem. I never had a car before, so it was nothing new. But we did, and Dick was born. No, Dick was born in here, and Dick and Randy. Yeah, I ended up with 5 children. Mm-hmm. We worked in Duluth a couple of years with the power company, and then went back with Bureau of Reclamation and the power system at Watertown. And we operated the dispatch, marketed the power out for a big system all through the Dakotas, Minnesota, western Minnesota, northern Nebraska, all of eastern Montana. And that's where I really, most of my career was within operating that system.